Welcome to CAD Rolls, chat. CAD Rolls 2021. Get in and out of this really easily. So again, guys, like I said, I'm gonna talk about Oberon later after the rolls. You guys can see how much quartz I have to roll. Basically 690, 69, nice. Whatever you want to say. It's very nice amount. But Oberon's the new unit in the game. Oberon is a pretender. He's a new class, our first new class in 3.5 years almost, pretty much since Foreigner was released in Salem. So it's been a hot minute. And he is the anti-alter ego in that sense. So he has a new place in that regard. But even if I throw all of that out, he is still a pretty decent AoE, and he is still a amazing support right now. He is our first 70% charger support in the game, and he's got some unique stuff in his kit. So again, we're just gonna kind of play this one by ear, but my goal is to at least acquire him. Bonus points to the fact that they actually included Fairy Knight Gawain and Fairy Knight Tristan on the banner, because this is exactly what I want. More copies of them, so this is the potential to make them good and strong. So I hope that somewhere along the way to getting Oberon, I hope he's not too difficult here, because we still have summer to consider, and god, I hope they give us some good summer units this year. I'm gonna hope that this doesn't shaft me too hard, but I again hope to get some 4 stars, right? So I think the easy way to start this one, I know they've already run the gamba, but it's gonna be, let's start with the thing everybody wants to see, the paid summon. So again, there's a little bit of a warning too about spoilers in Oberon's Third Ascension. I'm gonna tell everybody in chat right now, do not mention anything spoiler related to Oberon. There is some stuff out there, we know it, and we will ban you if you do, so please do not. Delightworks hid that from us on purpose. You have to do a interlude to even unlock his Third Ascension, your ability to see it in the game. So that's an important thing. Wow, that was amazing. I can't believe that my singular paid quartz got me that. Anyways, that's, again, I have leftover paid quartz from the GSSR that I purchased, so if anyone's wondering why, that's why. We're low-key here for the K-scopes as well, chat, so I need one more on JP. Oh. Hey, there we go. That's a good result right at the very beginning. We already got some Gawain in the tickets here. I will take that. Hot diggity. That was some lag. What? Not a... Oh. I mean, I am super happy about this, but like, yeah, summer is what's in the back of my mind now, just going like, I've luck sacked the past 2 banners. Summer's gonna screw me. It has to screw me. Oh shit. So there you go, chat. Total quartz spent was 1 paid quartz. 1 paid quartz and shit. What was that, chat? Like 23 tickets? Yeah. So one paid quartz and 23 tickets. So 23 tickets would be about 2 multis right there. So basically around 2.5 multis. That's ridiculous. It does not happen very regularly for me. I typically tend to YOLO my tickets over time, so I'm actually surprised that happened. But yes, I'm sure at this point I'm going to get absolutely destroyed by summer, so we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully there's some saber faces this year though. We're running while we're ahead. So again, we're gonna go ahead and analyze Oberon right here. Oberon has come out here. He is our first new class. We're actually gonna start by talking about said new class. He is the Pretender class here. So Pretender is essentially our new counter to Alter Ego. You have Foreigners, you have Alter Ego, which in the past had always been, Alter Ego had countered Foreigner, Foreigner had countered itself, and nothing ever countered alter ego. But now the way it works is basically you still have that same setup, right? But you also have pretender up here, and foreigner now counters pretender. Pretender counters alter ego. Alter ego also somewhat counters the cavalry classes, and pretender counters the knight classes somewhat. So again, what I mean when I say this is against knights, they have a 1.5 times damage rate. So that is a little bit extra. We had a lot of people that thought that might be the beast class for some time, but again, the beast class is not a summonable class as of right now. We have several people that have beast trait. We have nobody that actually is from the class. And I anticipate that this will not be a thing until much later. Honestly, I don't find him to be that bad here, again, due to the high hit counts and the decent NP gain rate, and the fact that the man has 70% charge in his kit. So if you really got to get him to his NP, it shouldn't be too bad. So you guys, again, probably saw my PSA about Oberon, and I talked all about how again, the changes he's going to make to party compositions in the future. And like I said, since then we basically had Koyanskaya come out that, like, I'm not going to say no one predicted Koyanskaya coming out, but I don't think anyone predicted that Koyanskaya was going to mess with meta like she did, and that she would be super buster helpful and all that stuff. So very interesting in that regard. But you guys can see he actually gives party NP damage for 3 turns. So it's a multi-turn steroid of a power mod right there, and you end up at 30% at rank 10. He can also charge the party's gauge by 20%. That's strong. So remember, guys, we have Merlin out there who charges the party's gauge by 20%. We have Waver who can do it, but he has to do it with 2 skills, right? But Waver does give 30% attack up to the party. Oberon gives 30% NP damage to the party, which is interesting. Then we get to the second skill here. He charges one ally's NP gauge by up to 50%. So he's, again, that block 50% charger. He has a 500% chance, though, to reduce or to grant them a delayed debuff for 1 turn. It's treated as a buff, which is a demerit. So because it's a buff, you can't get rid of it. You can't block it. You can't do anything with debuff immunity to try and stop it. You would literally have to somehow put buff block on yourself. And that's a very hard thing to do at the moment in the game outside of specific fights. So he reduces their NP gauge by 20% after 1 turn. So the problem with Morning Lark here is Morning Lark basically wants to be used on turn 3. If you use it on turn 3, you have no possible demerit of drain after the fact if you're in a 3-turn system. This includes people like the Saber Faces. This includes even arts and quick units that would need to refund, because the delayed reduction will happen after the 3 turns are up. If you're working in a buster system without someone that refunds on the back of their NP, you guys should be fine to use this on any turn you see fit. So again, not Saber Faces and stuff like that. People that are, again, just got their normal charge skills and they don't refund anything. He's also going to gain crit stars with this skill of 20. So there you guys go. We talked all about how Koyanskaya has the crit star bomb and her skills and the crit damage. He doesn't have the crit damage, but he still has a star bomb. So this is actually pretty insane. And yet again, it's another further sort of destruction of Quick. It's as they're just giving stars away to everybody. Still only on a 6-turn cooldown, so you guys would actually be able to get this with double Koyanskaya to fire off again. Looking at the third skill here, this is the one we didn't know about originally on the PSA. This is the one everyone's been asking me about all day. This is an insane skill. I actually can't believe they did this. And I'm not saying that just for shock value or anything. I'm legitimately surprised that they unironically put this in the game. So it increases one ally's buster performance for 1 turn. So because it's a 1-turn steroid, you already want to pop it probably on the turn that you need the most damage. For most people, that's going to be turn 3. Okay? So 50% buster up right there. It grants them an NP damage up boost for 1 turn. This is not NP damage up. This is modifying any NP damage up buffs you have on you. So his first skill here that gives 30% NP damage up is going to get modified by his third skill right here. it scales up to 100%. The reason that's important is it basically means that it's doubling this. So this 30% in P damage, remember how we compared it to Waver's 30% attack up? Yeah, that was a lie because it's actually now 60% with this skill on. So pretty nutso in that sense. And again, this would include any other sources. What makes this skill so strong is, as best we can tell, this includes Mystic Code buffs, Craft Essence buffs. So yeah, that MLB Black Grail apparently gets affected by this. You guys remember that 80% extra in P damage you guys get off that? Yeah, it's now 160 instead. So this is where this stuff starts just scaling ridiculously. And that's why I'm surprised that they actually put this in the game. They did not need to give this to anyone. So the fact that they gave this to someone actually has me a little bit worried about the difficulty of content in the future. And it's one of the reasons that I've said, yes, I do think you guys probably should try to get your hands on an Oberon, but you might not have to have your own. It just depends. However, all of this power comes with a pretty nasty side effect. So right here on downward is the demerit of the skill. He's got a 500% chance to grant them a delayed debuff for 1 turn. It ignores resistance, unremovable, treated as a buff. So this is actually bad wording. It's not a delayed debuff because again, it's treated as a buff. It is thus unblockable, uncleansable. It is literally something you can't remove from yourself. So after 1 turn, it grants them the effects below. A 1000% chance to remove their buffs. The reason this is significant and the reason it is 1000, you cannot prevent buff removal with buff removal resistance. There's no way to stack 1000 buff removal resistance in the game. So that's going to be an issue. You can't stop the removal of the target's buffs after 1 turn. They will also be granted eternal sleep. Again, as best I can tell, this is a buff, not a debuff. So it is similar to stun. Unlike stun, this status will ignore resistance. It is unremovable, and you are unable to sacrifice the servant. So you guys can see, you cannot, or it will draw all attention to them for 3 turns. So it's a taunt for 3 turns as well, but you cannot order change with them. You cannot sacrifice them with Qigong, nor does it get removed when the target is hit. This is something we discovered later on that fandom does not detail here. So if you guys have gotten the chance to use Oberon already, you may have noticed that his normal sleep and Abby's normal sleep, when something is asleep, if you hit them, they will wake up. Not this one. This one doesn't do anything. It literally bricks the unit. Okay, so the problem with this is you need to use this on turn 3 regardless of where you want to use it, because the turn after, that unit is now useless for the rest of the fight. You cannot swap them with Plug Suit. You cannot kill them with Qigong. You have to hope they get beat to death in those 3 turns that the taunt is up. Now, here's the problem with this. I want you guys to think about it. Have you guys ever farmed with someone and you guys accidentally pressed the skills at the wrong time? Maybe used the wrong skill on the wrong person? I want you guys to imagine using End of a Dream right here before the 3rd turn. Imagine you're in a lotto node and you accidentally pop this turn 1. You ain't getting through that node very quickly. That's a huge problem. So you guys gotta actually pay attention when using your Oberon. Don't get caught sleeping or else you will eternally sleep. Okay, then we get to his skills here. I'm not going to click on some of these because they contain spoiler names. So you guys can see, even fandom caught on and has managed to hide stuff. So for spoiler purposes, you guys can just see that he increases the party's debuff success rate by 10%, except for against foreigner enemies. So it means debuffs will land easier on your enemies. However, not foreigners, right? This also includes sub-members. The problem is, this has a chance to reduce the buff success rate of Merlin allies by 20% while self is on the field, including sub-members. So the way I interpret this, assuming it is worded correctly, is if Oberon is on the field in the front line, not as a sub-member, anywhere in the party that Merlin exists, be it on the front line with him or in the back line, you have a chance to fail all buffs as long as he is in the party. And yes, I've had some people ask, Merlin is now a trait. So it's literally a trait that Merlin has. He has his own trait called Merlin. Now I want you guys to think about this and why that might be important. Why do you give one person one trait? Unless maybe there's some more people, chat. He does have territory creation E. I'm gonna be brutally honest and say, was this even necessary? The man has 70% charge. The man has 1 arts card. Why the fuck did you need to feel the need to give him E-? I don't think it would have killed him if he just didn't have that, but still, it's an interesting thing. He gets item construction A+. This is definitely something that a lot of casters actually end up having. It increases his own debuff success rate by an additional 11%. So on top of his first trait right there. And he gets riding A for God knows what reason, because this actually makes his quick cards pretty damn good. 10% extra performance for them on top of the 4 hit count. He's going to be pretty good at generating stars with those cards. And then probably the most OP part about his traits right here is going to be Midsummer Night's Dream EX. He has self-mental debuff immunity. This includes shit like sleep. However, this does not include shit like eternal sleep. Yes, you thought you guys could get out of it, but no, if you look, it's a different color. So he does not protect himself from his own sleep buff, and he can put himself to sleep. Oh, right. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. That's right. It's not a debuff, chat, so he's not immune to it. It's a buff. I was gonna say, I could have sworn he did, but yeah, so this doesn't protect him against his own thing. I just got wrong for I got the reason for that wrong. And then this is not stun, this is terror again. So this is not the same thing, because terror is the mental side of that. He is also immune to curse. And I'm sure everybody and their brother would have liked that on the Chungus fight, but otherwise, it's just not there. So, you know, if you guys tried to get it done before that point, oof. This is his NP. He is a 4-hit AoE Buster NP. It deals damage to all enemies, removes their offensive buffs afterwards, inflicts sleep status to them for 1 turn after he dealt the damage, and then invulns them for 1 turn. Now, I've had a lot of people be like, wait, why does he invuln the enemy? That's so stupid, Cad. That's dumb. Why does he do that? Well, the majority of the reason for that is to make sure the sleep debuff affects them still for that 1 turn. So they don't get to take action at the end of the turn as long as you didn't pierce that. So it can actually be really, really nice. If you're worried about it, you can always take Invuln Pierce CEs or a unit that has it in their kit. Or you can just place Oberon's MP last if you're doing multiple MPs. Or again, if you want a pre-card before the MP, you can do that as well. So this, I've talked about how Oberon doesn't really have survivability in his kit, just like Koyanskaya. He doesn't. But this will actually make him able to lock down some enemies and simply deprive them of turns. I did in one of the fights in LB6 where you get to use him as an NPC. I did use this to great effect. I was able to just completely deprive the enemy boss of its ability to charge, of its ability to crit me, and it was actually pretty nice in that sense. So it's a little bit like deceptively good at stalling things out, and that's one of the reasons that I actually really like his NP. His overcharge effect is it deals extra damage to enemies that have lawful alignment. Again, this man, if you guys look, his traits were chaotic evil, so you guys can expect that accordingly. as a chaotic evil person, he's probably not gonna like lawful people too much. And he does get an extra 150% chance there, or 150% damage right there. So pretty nice. Again, overall, I think Oberon's kit is amazing. I think this third skill is largely going to be the reason you guys want him, not just the 70% charge. Again, Koyanskaya herself is 50%, so the first skill adding 20% and having the NP damage up is nice, but it's the third skill to me that just really starts breaking things. The fact that he is our first 70% charger though alone would make him worth having, but this third skill again is where shit's gonna actually just start breaking.